Okay, so this is my labor and delivery video. Don't mind the nasty food in the background. Um, where do I start? Well, Gabriella is 8 months old. Um, she was born July 20th, 2012. She was 5 pounds, 9 ounces, 19 inches. She was born at 2:07 a.m. God, it's so long ago that I really don't even remember basically all the details, but majority of them because it was pretty traumatic. Um, I was 37 weeks and 2 days or 4 days pregnant, and I continuously went into labor with my pregnancy. At 25 weeks, at 30 weeks, at 35 weeks. Finally, at 37 weeks, they just induced me because it just kept coming. It was very uncomfortable, and um, so I don't know why my glasses look so quick. So they induced me. Um, I was in labor. I don't even know what time they induced me at. Early in the morning. I was there overnight with contractions. They induced me in the morning, even though they don't believe in induction that early. Sorry, I'm everywhere. And they broke my water at 5:30. I got an epidural a couple hours after that, after the contractions really started kicking in. Um, and then around, I don't even know when, I fell asleep after the epidural with my husband. We both just fell asleep. The nurse supposedly checked me, and I was a 6 to 7. She went and called the doctor and told her, no, I was progressing, and she was going to set up everything for the baby. And before she could set it up, I woke up with pressure. She checked me, and I was at a 10. Not even, Jesus, my glasses. Not even like 10 minutes later. So it didn't take long, and then they called my doctor and said I'm at a 10, and I was ready to push. So I started pushing, and since I was an awesome pusher, she was basically out after 2 contractions. The problem was my doctor wasn't there, and the nurse, didn't know how to deliver the baby. Um, so she made me, which at the time I don't know what I was thinking, then like, the moment, and didn't really think about it. Um, but I held the baby was halfway out, halfway in. Um, and she made me hold the baby there without pushing through 2 contractions. And my mom was in the room, and she had told me that she had seen her heart rate go down, and I was literally sitting there and listening to see if I could hear the doctor coming, and every noise was like, is that the doctor? Is that the doctor? Well, the doctor called back after holding my baby in through 2 contractions because the nurse didn't know how to deliver a baby that had the cord wrapped around her neck. And so after the doctor called back and said that she had fallen back asleep to just deliver the baby. Now, a little bit back on it, I've obviously had complications. It was a high-risk pregnancy. For her to even go home and not care about me at all. I mean, she couldn't have stayed in the hospital that night. I don't know. It was a little weird to me. I didn't really like her, but I kind of just dealt with it. And then in the end, it affected me. So she had fallen asleep and told them to just deliver the baby. She came out and she was barely crying. She was crying, but they were trying to make her cry more so she would cry and get the fluids out of her lungs. But they did an assessment on her. They gave her a bath. She was fine. We went back to the mommy and baby area, and at her doctor checkup, they noticed something was wrong. Yeah, so she was only with me for like 5 hours. And then the doctor called us down to the nursery, my husband and I, and told us that she was breathing 160 times in a minute when it's normally like 40 to 60, I want to say. So they had her on oxygen, and they kept her there overnight. in the nursery because my hospital didn't have, a NICU because we're in Boo-Foo land. And they kept her there overnight, and it wasn't progressing. They could only bring her to a certain level at that hospital. Then they would have to fly her up north to the city where they could actually take care of her better. So after a while, they told us that she was going to be airlifted to Chicago. I wasn't supposed to say that. She was going to be airlifted to Chicago to stay in the NICU. And my freaking glasses. So she stayed there. She had pneumonia. There was still fluid in her left lung, and she was on oxygen. She had jaundice. I think she got up to like a 15 or something with her jaundice. I'm not too sure on that number. She was there for 10 days, and thank God there was the Ronald McDonald Foundation in the hospital in the NICU. And what they do is they let parents stay literally down the hall from their babies in the NICU, and if not, they have a bus that takes you down the street to the Ronald McDonald House where you can stay and travel back and forth. They gave us free meal cards, or they didn't give us free meal cards, they gave us free parking, free laundry. It was like a hotel room, but it didn't have a TV, which I didn't need a TV because I was in the NICU majority of the time with my baby. And we stayed there, and had an extra room, thank God, in the hospital, so we stayed in the hospital with her. I could sit with her all day, every day. There was only 2 times where I couldn't, when it was a shift change, and they had to talk about what they did with the baby, which I find kind of weird because it's my baby, and I would like to know what you're saying. But I dealt with it. And yeah, it was pretty traumatic, but they let her out a day earlier than what she was supposed to, and she was very healthy after that, and we have had no complications since. So that is my story. Got more into not just labor and delivery, more after. But that was it, and to this day, I will not go back to her. We are moving with the military, so I will have a different doctor once I try conceiving my second baby. We actually did get pregnant in January of 2013, but we sadly lost the baby a few days after we found out. So we will technically be trying to conceive baby number 3. And that is it. And yeah, so thanks for watching. Subscribe.